Now you can generously give a voice to Storytime. Visit our library of homegrown audio stories at cadbury.co.za.
It's your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and our next guest, content creator Mmneo, and her two boys recently visited the Cadbury Generosity Storytime studio where they shared their voice to bring stories, Cadbury Homegrown Stories Library, to life. And they were one of more than 10,000 voices who visited the studios to help make storytime more enjoyable and accessible for all South Africans and South African families as well. And we want to welcome Mmneo to the couch on Expresso. How are you feeling?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Carl.
So I know that you and your boys went to go visit this incredible Cadbury Storytime studio.
Yeah.
I can only imagine what the experience was like for you and the boys. Tell me a bit more about it. How was it?
It was so good. The setup was so inviting, so I was just like, I need to take my boys there.
Yeah, but it's got to be an experience for the entire family where suddenly your boys were enabled and they could kind of tell their story too using their voices in that particular studio. How important was it for them to actually almost find their voice in this experience?
I believe that kids should be exposed to literature because I feel like through literature, kids can learn to fully express themselves, and also they can learn how to, you know, read and write and be able to be themselves.
It's very true. There's a certain confidence about teaching your kids to speak up and to be as confident as they can when articulating who they are, because that's what the world is like. You know, you want to establish who you are and you want to say all the right type of things that are connected to your actual beliefs and your truths. And I think you as a mom, you're guiding them in the most beautiful way possible. Were there any highlights in that particular studio experience that really stuck out for you?
The setup was so inviting.
Yeah,
the ladies were working there was super nice.
Yes.
My kids were obsessed with the lady who was telling the stories. And they also got free books.
Oh, a freebie is like what we live for, okay? Thank you.
And also, they didn't want to leave the studio. They were obsessed with going in and recording themselves. Obviously, my little one can't read, so he was narrating through the pictures. It was so cute.
That is special as well, because, you know, that is the start of literacy, if you think about it. It's about storytelling in any way you can. You don't have to be articulate. Sometimes, you know, especially when you're very, very young, all those pictures, you kind of speak to them, and I think that narration's powerful. And
he was literally just telling his own story.
But that's okay. That's the whole idea of this entire process. You want to tell your own story. Let's look at all the others who have brought stories to life, like Shekinah and you know, Jak the Priester also did one, Yosa from Kwadaki as well. Have you ever got yourself a chance to actually see what they have come up with?
Yes, definitely. I'm obsessed with Yosa because I resonate with her so much.
Yes.
She narrates the Xhosa books, and I am raising two Xhosa kings, and it's important for us for them to know how to speak their home language. So Yosa, I was obsessed with her series.
That is great. And I mean, also that's the beautiful thing about the process as well, is that it's for everybody. We have to enrich all of the languages and all the cultures that we have in South Africa and make sure that story time is very, very special. But of course, you as a mom of these boys, right? Not only literacy, you know, Women's Month is afoot. So let's talk about the type of sort of lessons you want to instill, the type of stories that you want to bring to your boys so that you are raising two very well-rounded South African men. What type of values are you instilling into these boys?
Regarding Women's Month, I'm basically just teaching the boys the importance of the role that women play in society in general, and also just to be respectful men and still be themselves within that.
And I think it's also powerful, I'm sure you can agree, is that we need more books and stories that have strong female leads for boys to read. I think often there's been that really traditional thought process back in the day of all these male heroes. It's about time we have more ladies in capes, more strong female characters for our boys to follow.
I totally agree.
I think that's the most amazing thing. Thank you for sharing. I really, really appreciate it. And it's so good to see you. It's so good to see that you have really just latched on to story time. Do you think it's going to become a daily ritual now?
Definitely, definitely, definitely. Because the voices are so soothing. And I feel like it's going to help the boys also just understand the importance of reading and story time and telling stories and expressing themselves. So definitely.
Lovely. Mmneo, thank you so much for sharing your story, and also to your boys for loving this whole Cadbury experience. It's been great to chat to you. And as you can hear, this entire experience. It's all about connection. It's about unity. Thank you to all South Africans for generously giving your voices at the Cadbury Generosity Storytime Studios. More than 10,000 of you took the time to record your favorite stories, helping to make storytime more accessible for children to enjoy their own language, their home language. Now simply grab your favorite Cadbury dairy milk, your loved ones, and visit cadbury.co.za to select a story in your home language to get started. Remember, you can also join the conversation using hashtag Cadbury Give a Voice and follow at Cadbury Dairy Milk SA on Facebook or Twitter and Instagram as well, and at Cadbury_SA is where you can find them on Instagram, and keep on telling these stories and sharing them with generations.
Now you can generously give a voice to Storytime. Visit our library of homegrown audio stories at cadbury.co.za.